All right. Flint
What's up, man?
Town is in the house. This is going to be a good podcast. Flint Town. So we already had one clinician on board do a podcast for us, and I appreciate you helping us out, Amy. I know your rate is quite high.
Yes, I'm got a lot of expertise.
Yeah, personal expertise as well. So with us today, for everybody that's watching and listening, whether you're doing both or just watching the other, myself and Mark Frymark from Headshot, bam, is back in the house. And
It's not really good to do when you got a room full of PTSD.
no, he does that shit to all of us, Amy. It doesn't matter. If anyone ever asks,
when it's really quiet,
they'll say, "Hey, I just finished one of your podcasts," and I'll say, "What'd you watch?" And they said Headshot, and I said, "Really? What'd you think?" And they go, "Bam!" So I know they watched it if they do that. So also with us today is, and I say this very proudly, Dr. Officer Amy White.
Doc
Yay.
Cop.
Doc Cop. I don't like Doc Cop. I like Dr. Officer.
Dr. Officer.
How's that? What do you think, Mark? Dr. Officer?
I'm with her. I like Doc Cop.
Doc Cop?
Yeah.
Overruled.
When you're
more
buzzed,
cool.
you can't really say Doc Cop. It comes out kind of weird, almost sexual nature. So, I'll give a brief introduction, like I always do. So, Amy has volunteered with PISTLE for probably 3 years now.
Since 2015.
Yeah. So 16, 17, 18, 4 years. So she came to us all the way from Flint Township, where the water's bad, basically. And you were a police officer out there in Flint, right?
Well, technically, the department was Flint Township. All right. Wasn't City of Flint.
Okay, I don't know the difference. Is it
Well,
fucked up Flint?
It's
That's the
west,
same Flint
it's
we're
the
talking
west
about,
side
right?
of Flint.
Okay.
Yeah.
The shitty. So okay. So you came. You reached out to us when you were coming out here. You had just graduated. I think you were already a doctor at the time. And I don't know to date if there's anyone who's not a doctor or clinician who's donated more time than Amy. So I appreciate that. And she really dove in head first and helped us out a lot, helped me out a lot. I like to refer to her as my older sister. That's what I tell people, older sister. Although I think you might be younger than I am.
I think so.
We have a love-hate relationship, and she loves to hate me. So just real quick, I'll let you introduce yourself, kind of your background, and we'll go from there.
You didn't introduce me?
I didn't give the meat and potatoes because you...
Oh, meat and potatoes. So I am this many years old.
Which is older than I am.
Not. So I retired out of Flint Township Police Department. I didn't work City of Flint. I'm just saying.
So what is the difference between township and city? Are they both shitty?
So you know how Peoria is on the outside of Phoenix?
Yeah,
You
but
know?
that's Peoria.
Well,
And then you're
that's
in
how
Phoenix.
Flint Township is.
So there's two. So you can be in
We
Phoenix
just weren't-
and Phoenix?
We just weren't incorporated. We weren't a city.
Oh.
So
Ugh.
yeah, you don't have townships out here in Arizona. So
That's a good thing. They'd poison our water. So,
all right. So anyway, I worked 12 years back there. Most of my time was on the road, primarily third shift. But I did have some time doing the wonderful mall cop duties.
Mall cop?
Yeah, mall cop. Yeah.
Bad shit happens at the mall in Flint.
Yes.
I'm
it
just taking a
does.
guess.
It does. It's probably my one and only riot.
Oh my God.
So, so did that. Did some undercover work, doing auto theft investigation. Did detective for about a year and a half, and
So you put in work. This
Yeah,
is
I
no
worked.
joke, right? This is
I got award for top drunk driving arrest officer. You know,
Oh, you're a motor. Fuck that shit.
and I'm not a motor. No,
So, you 12 years,
12 years.
and you decide one day, hey, I'm gonna leave this wonderful world of Flint and move to fucking the desert of Arizona. What happens? How kind of get us to the point where
What
you start...
happened? I got fucked up. That's what happened.
That's what I was looking for. So you're one of us,
I'm
is
one
what
of
you're
you.
saying.
Yes, I
And
am.
that's what makes it great about having you.
I think I may have
help.
led the way, except maybe Mark. I think Mark may have been
I don't know.
ahead of
When
me.
was your critical incident, Amy?
My critical, well, the one that broke the camel's back
Yeah.
was 06.
Oh yeah, it's way before me.
Mine was 04.
Yeah, so Mark
So he's
beat me
got you beat just a little bit. That's
Yeah.
okay.
So
All right, so
I was on the leading frontier of this whole PTSD stuff.
nobody wants that shit.
Yeah.
So you have your critical, and so you want to touch base on that just a little
Okay,
bit,
so
kind of.
sure. There's couple critical incidents, as like with police work. You know, we see crap on a daily, hourly basis. So, but the couple significant ones were in 2002. My husband, at the time we were not yet married, we were engaged.
You married a cop, didn't you?
I married a cop.
Damn it. Small and Flint. If you're criminal or cop, I guess you took the better choice.
You only had 3 to choose from.
Yeah, fuck it.
So anyway, in 2002, working third shift, actually, I was working night swings. My husband now worked in another agency. We're in the same county. So he worked in a county from the east side. I worked county on the west side of the county. Duh. But we had the same 911 dispatch. So I could monitor all of his traffic and his side, and he could monitor all mine. But that night, nothing out of the ordinary, really, because he's in farm country. So what do you do in farm country? You drive drunk, right?
Was he a deputy?
No, he wasn't a deputy.
Okay,
No,
just checking.
No, he
Don't
wasn't
make fun of
brown.
deputies.
No. So hear the radio traffic. There's a pursuit coming in from a neighboring county, pursuing a drunk driver, suspected drunk driver. I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal. Hey, whatever. And I hear he gets involved in it. They're turning and everything, but why it's a critical incident is I got to hear radio traffic of my husband saying, shot to the head,
Oh.
struck by car, and then they can't raise him on the radio.
Now, so I know if police officers understand this. Is your radio traffic at the time, is it constantly scanning, or can you just position it to his channel? So are you just getting bits and pieces of this, or you're scanning and hearing this? How does that play out?
So that I was completely listening to 911 south. No, north. You guys were north. They were north, and I was south. So I could completely listen. It wasn't that was cutting in and out.
Okay.
I was able to fully monitor it. And it was just, that was the radio traffic. And so they tried raising him. They had state police were, some of the traffic I heard was state police were like, yeah, we're almost there. We'll check on and give an update. So, you know, had to deal with that.
Now, how far are you from his position? Are we talking a couple miles, or are we talking a whole different fucking...
We're talking 30 miles,
Oh, my
40
God.
miles. I mean, complete opposite sides of the country.
Now, are you going? Are you going there?
I am not. I am actually doing an accident report on the highway.
How the fuck did you not leave the accident?
I would have
I
done
wouldn't give
that.
anything to
I would have
leave that
threw their
accident. Like,
license at
hey,
him.
man,
and their
this is a civil matter. Here's your information exchange. It's under $500.
Well, here's the thing. I noticed when I heard that traffic that I kind of just shut off. I noticed that emotional disconnect. I just kind of went to nothing. Let me just focus on doing this accident and not worry about anything else.
Oh, he's got it. And so
No.
I'm guessing from your current position as a doctor, that's bad, right? You shouldn't do that.
Well, it's an indicator that there's something
There's
going
something
on.
wrong.
There's something
The
going
more
on.
proper response would be to panic and drive to where your husband is at.
Maybe.
Okay.
But then I could have been driving totally stupid and gotten in a wreck on the way, though, too. You know?
well,
So
shutting down or driving stupid, I guess there's two evils there.
the same thing, weren't they?
So what ends up happening at that?
So they eventually, well, actually, I don't get confirmation over the radio. They keep trying to raise him. I end up calling dispatch. I'm like, you got anything? Have you heard anything? Like, no, we don't have anything. We'll let you know as soon as we do. And eventually what it was is one of the state troopers that checked on with him tossed him his phone and said, you need to call.
Oh, jeez.
So I got a call from my husband saying, yep, I'm okay. I'm going to the hospital. Got some bumps and bruises.
he wasn't shot.
Wasn't shot. He shot the suspect.
Okay. So he had been involved in a critical incident.
Mm-hmm.
And you were doing an accident.
I was doing an accident. And here's kind of the fucked up part of it. Is my department didn't really do anything about it.
Like they
So-
didn't send you to go to your...
No. One of my partners we were working single man units, but we'd double up after 3 a.m. So one of the guys that I would double up with, he came up. He's like, "Did you hear the radio traffic?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "What the fuck are you still doing here?" I'm like, "I got an accident." He goes, "Get out of here. I'll take care of it."
That's a good guy right there.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
the
That is
only
a good
person that
fucking
reached
cop
out.
right there.
That was the
Yeah,
only
okay.
person that reached out.
No,
I
no
get-
commanders or
No.
or corporals came to get you. Nothing
Nope,
like that.
nothing like that. I ended up going back to the department because it was really close to end of shift anyway for me. But I get back to the department. I tell my supervisor, "Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going up to the hospital." So it's okay. That's it.
Jesus. And now, so do you now was this your guys's? How long had you guys been on by that time? For you guys.
What do you
How
mean
long
on?
had he been on from that shooting, and how long had you been on at the time of that shooting? Have you guys had some tenure on by that time?
Oh yeah, we're gosh.
So no prior
So
shootings.
like 6 years, for minimum 6 years. we've been
Okay,
on.
so prior to that, had you had any critical incident shootings?
Shootings, no.
Him shootings. You guys worked together, I guess, relatively well without any kind of critical incidents along the way. I guess is what I'm asking, right? So
That
this was
was
like
the-
the first one.
First major one. I mean, I got to do an autopsy of a 3-year-old my first week.
Prior to that,
My first week on.
did you check out on that one too?
No. Well,
You-
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I zoned out. I wasn't
So-
watching the Saw do all that crap.
So you said earlier that amongst other things, so
Mm-hmm.
was this the first critical incident that you had where is this the one that kind of broke, like you said, broke the straw? or the
No,
camel's
this wasn't
back?
the one that broke the camel's back, but this is the one that I say is kind of the start of it all because I didn't get any assistance with it. So my focus was, how do I get my husband through all this crap? Because he was dealing with a lot of crap with the prosecutor's office and different things like that. And with his own agency not having had their own shooting before, and he's kind of like the test water, and they're making him go into the department and do electrical work. And
So now you're
demeaning. So,
putting yourself aside
yep,
for
put
him,
myself aside for him.
and you're struggling.
Yep.
And so how does that eventually unfold to where you get your diagnosis of PTSD?
So, 2 years, almost to the day later, 2 officers at our department were shot.
Killed?
Not killed, shot. One was unable to return back to work. That particular officer became suicidal.
Mm.
And again, my department wasn't doing anything about it. I notified my supervisor, "Hey, she really needs some assistance. You guys really need to get her connected with someone." And they're like, "Okay, we're working on it." And days go by and they still haven't connected her. I'm like, "Hey, I've got something lined up for her. I got some people." And he's like, "Don't worry about it. We got it handled. You need to stay out of this." I'm like, "Fuck that."
That's the shit that they still pull here.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We got it. We had officers come in and say that the department has said, "Sign this piece of paper here. We'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about work comp."
Yeah.
That's some bullshit, right?
That's
How many
major,
times we heard
yes.
that, Mark? Like people have come in and just said, "Oh no, they said sign here
Every
and
time.
we'll take care of you." This is some bullshit right there.
Every
Yeah.
time.
You're trying to help your partner, and they're telling you they got it, which ultimately I'm guessing they didn't have at the time.
So it's there's another piece to this. So not only was it almost exactly to the date 2 years later from my husband's incident, but about 2 or 3 weeks prior to, I'd responded to a shooting call where a subject was shot in the shoulder. We get on scene, the subject's talking to us, "Hey, no problem, hey, yeah, you got a bullet hole there. We need to get an ambulance going and get you to the hospital." Well, he ended up bleeding out internally and died.
Mm.
I got to sit with his body down at the hospital for a few hours. I bring that point up because the female officer that was shot in the arm.
Mhm.
And the information I get is, "Yeah, she's shot in the arm and she's okay." And I'm like, what's going through my mind is, bullshit, you can't tell me she's okay because I just watched someone die
Yeah.
not too long ago.
You got that
Yeah.
From a
association,
similar-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from that point, from that shooting, things just really deteriorated for me. Wanted to get in a fight.
Oh yeah, that was rule
Looking
number
for
one
those
for me.
fights, but man, you couldn't find them. They wouldn't
You
fight
couldn't find them in Flint?
They
How
wouldn't
is that
fight
even
you.
fucking possible?
They would not fight me, man. I was looking
Why?
for them. You know how when you kind of present with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You get some crazy broad ready to fucking
It's when
kill
you're
you.
trying to mind your own business and get off shift.
Yeah.
That's when everybody wants to go to Fist City.
Yeah.
Right. When
So
you're not
anger-
looking for it.
You have
so-
all the symptoms: anger,
Anger, I became suicidal. So I was still working the road and everything for, about a year after that. So in the middle of the night, sitting in my patrol car writing my goodbye letters to all my family members and my husband.
And that, at what point, I know Mark talks about this where you say, fuck, I gotta go somewhere, get help. Is that your moment right there where you're like, fuck, I gotta go get help now?
No, it was actually prior to that. It was probably about a month after the shooting. We had actually, my husband, when he had his deal, had spoken to a couple people at the state police. So we reached out and I got in to speak with them for a couple sessions. They only give you a couple sessions.
Yeah, always a couple sessions. Like, you're going to be fixed in fucking 2 sessions.
It was enough to know, yeah, you're screwed up and you need more help.
One session is paperwork. The second one is to tell you you're fucked up. That's your session. That'll be $200, please.
So I knew things were not right that early, but things just continued to get worse because I wasn't getting the help that I needed. I wasn't finding a clinician to meet that I connected with. I actually sought out police psychologists, and the police psychologists that I reached out to and actually went and had some sessions with were probably some of the worst clinicians I had reached out to.
It's the same shit here. They do MMPIs and then they say they work with cops, right? Or they marriage counseling cops.
Or the city contracts with like the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
That's you. Yeah.
So, hey,
I mean,
lowest quality care at the cheapest price.
Yeah.
You're our person.
yeah, the one was he has a police candidate in the front of the office doing his MMPI.
There you go. There it is.
And I go, and you have to walk through the front office to get to his back office. So I have to walk past that police candidate back to his office to have my session and walk back out past that police candidate. I'm like, this ain't going to happen.
You should have said, hey, guy, this is where you end up in fucking 6 years.
Right.
Don't fucking fill out that application.
So I went through, I think it was about 7 clinicians before I found one that I connected with.
Now, you say clinician, and I know that to be not a doctor like you are, because you're a doctor, right? Not an
doctor.
MD, not a drug dealer, but a psychologist.
Correct.
When you say clinician, that's what you saw, or did you see doctor too?
I saw doctors too. The police psychologists were doctors.
Yeah, but those, again,
They were
that's like
doctors,
here.
but the clinician that I met with, and I say clinician just to generalize everybody, but was a licensed social worker.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is because we get calls sometimes and they'll say, you know, I'm seeing a social worker, but I think I need to see a doctor. Like, that doctor gives it a little bit more credibility, which I don't agree with all the time, because I met really great clinicians and like doctors that were really bad. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. So that's why I say clinicians, because it can be the master's level or the doctoral level. But the doctor level does give you a little more credibility in situations such as workman's comp and different things. And that was a problem I ran into with having a master's level clinician. Was
You
I
mean
ended
you
up having
had
to
problems
get some.
with work comp?
Yeah,
That is amazing.
4 years. 4 years
Fucking
fighting
work,
with
even in
them.
Flint, they're fucked up.
4 years, had to short sell our house, file bankruptcy.
Oh, God.
relocate.
These motherfuckers, the insurance companies, man, they're dirty.
Well, it just goes to show that that's one blanket that covers the entire country.
I would say
She's
the
up
worst.
in
Yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
and you know these insurance companies. There's very few of the major ones that are covering all these municipalities.
Right.
So they have the same procedures for all of them.
So you go through the.
Go through hell.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
went
gonna have
through hell.
you through every fucking. If everybody went through that, they'll think we're conspiring or some shit. But I didn't know you in 2006 or 2009 when you were going through your critical incident. Mine was in 2012. I got fucking drugged through the mud. Mark got through. None of us knew each other, and it's the same shit. And that's part of why I appreciate you being here on multiple levels. But you actually went through it just like we did. So when an officer comes through and sees you, that's part of what we tell them. Go see Dr. White. Go see Dr. White. She understands on a different level. So you go through fucking hell and you go through all that shit. And what do? Throw a dart and fucking land in Phoenix? Like, you just say, fuck it, I'm going to get as far away from Flint as possible?
No, my husband ended up getting a job out here, so he ended up going through more crap with his department following his shooting, and eventually retired out from his department and relocated out here to Arizona for a job. So
And now,
I followed.
I think it's a good transition to get in from police officer
As to why I'm in psychology?
to doctor, because I never in a million years would think that I could. I don't know. Cops they seem like knuckle draggers, you know, like see bad guy, arrest bad guy, like you know what I mean.
I did have one supervisor tell me, "Dude, you're too smart to be working the road."
Well,
So I'm like, "Well, okay, I'll take."
you proved that correct. So you
So how did I get here? That's what you're trying to get
yeah.
at. How did I get here?
I look at all these degrees up here. There's a degree for everything up here.
It's just because I like school. Well,
Yeah.
no, not really.
MD or PSYD, a bunch of
Society.
yeah. I don't know. You got to wear a funny cap when you graduated. I know that.
I
right?
know.
Yeah,
I wanted to wear the fancier cap.
you
Man.
should have. So how did you transition? And well, we'll start that. How did you determine that that's the road you wanted to go down?
So throughout my process of meeting with the different clinicians, and the main one that there were two that really led me to that. And the first one was the one from MSP that I met with. And he's like, you know what? You really need to use some of this stuff and help others. And I'm like, I ain't going to listen to people complain to me 8 hours a day. Sorry, ain't going to happen.
Did it in Flint? Didn't work out very well.
I didn't do it in Flint.
Oh, you didn't listen to him?
Oh.
You know how people came to us and shit? We got called all the time. You just told them no. I ain't gonna listen to anybody.
Yeah, well, I listened a little bit because
Oh.
otherwise you get a complaint, right?
I got complaints all the time. Don't
Right.
matter.
Well, if you're doing your job, you're going to get a complaint.
Yeah.
So he mentioned it. I did like school. I'd already had a master's in public administration prior to all this, and I was contemplating going back to school, getting my accounting degree.
Call counting. Jesus Christ.
I like numbers. I like math.
You are a nerd. Accountant and doctor.
So I started looking at those courses. School was kind of a safe place for me. It allowed me to learn some information. And as I move forward, I'm like, I've got to be able to help others. And the best way to do that was to get my doctorate, because master's level just doesn't carry the weight that a doctor's does.
No, it's very
In
true.
studying it, did you find like that to be any form of therapy? The more you learned about it, the more you could comprehend what was happening with you.
Somebody's saying yes a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
What I will tell you, though, is it makes you really, doing a counseling degree or a psychology degree really makes you face and deal with the crap that you've already got on board. And I'll tell you what, the stuff was thrown at me left and right. You know, you would think that psychologists, instructors, professors would be sympathetic, understanding, go by the rules, and it's not the case. I had to fight with my school for accommodations because I couldn't handle loud sounds or watch graphic scenes or different things like that.
Oh, wow.
So I had to fight with different instructors who said, oh, you are required to give me a letter of your accommodations. I'm like, no, I am not required. I'm required to notify you that here are my accommodations. One instructor apparently sat there and started asking other instructors about it. Then I got into, this was back in Michigan, one of the instructors who was the ethics class refused to make my accommodations.
Man, you should have won millions on that.
Well, I was too messed up at that time to really
So
pursue
okay,
a
so
whole
I
lot.
think I might have missed something, but you retired.
I retired.
You,
So
you
in the
got
process
a medical
of
retirement
retirement,
for PTSD.
yes.
Okay, and then you thought it would be a good idea to go get a fucking doctorate after you retired from PTSD.
I think we already confirmed that I'm fucked up, right?
I'm just checking
Okay.
because
All
I'm thinking to myself, I tried to go back to college just for fucking 2 classes and almost threw my computer out the fucking window. How you did it in the doctor is beyond me, but I'm just trying to catch
That's
people
special.
up. So you medically retire from PTSD.
It's all kind of in the process. So I don't get my official notification of retirement until 2008, 2009. I think the early 2009, before everything's kind of finalized, and I start getting my, no, it was even later than that,
2012 to 2013.
before I finally get my settlement from Workman's Comp.
Mm.
So part of the settlement was, hey, this is your effective retirement date, which ended up being January of 2008, if I remember correctly. So while I'm struggling with all this, I'm using school as kind of a coping skill. Hey, let me go back to school. Maybe this will help. Give me some distraction or different stuff like that. And just, so it was all kind of intertwined.
Okay.
So go from school. I started school in Michigan. Then when my husband relocated out here, I transferred out to school out here and continued.
Where'd you graduate? Where'd you go?
Argosy University, which is now closed.
Oh, your degrees are no fucking good. Holy shit, you're not even a real doctor.
It's Apollo
No,
College.
they are good. They are
See how
still
far
good.
your mind can take you?
The whole time I thought we were talking to a doctor, but shit's no good.
That's cosmetology.
Yeah.
So you successfully do that, and congrats on that shit. Because like I said, I tried to go back to school, and sometimes I can't even fucking spell.
Man,
my
I can't
name.
read an instruction manual on how to put in a garbage disposal
Yeah.
without losing my mind, honestly.
It's
So for you to
difficult.
contend with everything that PTSD throws into your face and ladles you with hour after hour, day by day, and to go through school.
Well, do you ever find that you
That's
do some like obsessive
tremendous.
stuff when you're dealing
Yeah.
with? Okay.
Yeah.
My obsession was school.
Okay.
All
I do
right.
the Home Shopping Network.
Fuck, my obsession was alcohol. How come I couldn't get school? What the fuck?
You should
How
see
do
my
you end up with
closet.
the good one? That's bullshit. Mark, he shops to self-medicate. I drink, and you fucking study. That's a fucked up.
Man, I wish I would have taken yours.
No shit. Hopefully that's
Wait.
part of your treatment plan.
Yeah.
Why don't you get obsessive about school?
That's a great idea.
Jesus.
That's great
I'm an
therapy.
overachiever. Come on, you
Fucking
know that.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm an overachiever.
Okay, so
So it wasn't easy though. School wasn't easy. I'm telling you.
Imagine.
I don't know. It
I-
sounds like you
I
fucking did it in
understand
the fucking your sleep. Like it was not a problem.
Oh no, I
So what we need to do.
walked out of class crying and
Oh, yeah, I did
there
that.
you go.
I did
See,
that.
now
Yeah.
that sounds legitimate.
sounds normal.
Are you losing that mic?
I'm thinking I am.
And so what we need to do is we need to have your husband come back on and tell us the rest of the story.
Oh.
Because he's in the peanut gallery shaking his head and laughing. But so now you're back. You're here. You get your doctorate. And I'm assuming, and just real quick, when you were on the police department, were you part of their peer program, or that was just
There
your
was not a
nature?
peer program.
There's no peer program.
no
Holy
peer
shit!
program.
Flint is a really.
It was a long time ago. I mean, we
This
had
is
that
a long time ago.
We had that in
Yeah.
ours, but it was for internal affairs stuff.
The state police.
We didn't
was
have a
what
critical
provided
incident
support.
and you're going to get a peer rep come in alongside you. We didn't have that.
Right.
Yeah, state police had it, and they would come in on some of the stuff, but you know.
So when you and I don't know anything about your doctorate or how you like do you specialize like some people specialize in kids, or is it just a general degree of psychology?
It's a general one, but I did take the neuropsychology track. I didn't get the neuropsychology degree aspect of it, so you know I've done a lot of the testing, did a lot of the brain study stuff, and understanding different areas of the brain, doing different
Yeah,
things.
that's the good stuff. That's the stuff I want to get to.
Oh, I don't want to because I can't remember that shit.
So now was your whole purpose was your purpose originally to just re-career, or was it to re-career and solely help cops because you were a cop? Or did you even have an agenda at that point?
My purpose was to help cops, and the best way I felt I could do that was to get my degree, to get my doctorate, and help them through that.
Cool.
Nice.
So now you're here, and now that we have you here, can you kind of tell us what the fuck is going on with all the crazy shenanigans that we get ourselves into? Like, you like fucking self-medicating, anger issues, because you did. I'm not gonna push those neuro classes that you can't remember, but
Thanks.
you know what? Why is it that society believes that we can go to these traumatic events over and over and over and over again and not be fucked up? And a lot of us, nobody taught me to dissociate, or no one taught me to put my emotions down. How does our brain work when you're at that accident scene and you know your husband is not in a good situation? What part of our brain is telling us to fucking override that and not panic and not lose our shit? How does
If you want the technical answers, your prefrontal cortex is telling you not to lose your shit and is keeping your executive functioning online, but it's not exactly
That's
where
pretty fucking nerdy. But I only know that word because Lauren talked about it in the last podcast. But why does it do that? Why does it do that?
Yeah, I don't want to go into why does it do that. I would be more interested in saying, you know what? Because cops don't like talking about childhood, right? They come into a counseling session, like, oh, you're going to talk about you want me to talk about my parents and all that stuff, right? Okay. So here's the thing. We aren't born, or we didn't get to being an adult, being an officer because there you are, right? You just didn't get transported into that Star Trek yet.
I know where you were going with that. She's a Trekkie, dude. I listen to that shit.
So nerdy.
Yeah, it's
You know,
nerdy.
but things happen from childhood, even prior to being born, when you're still in the womb. You know, things are developing, your brain's developing, and different things like that. So all these things happen throughout our childhood, our early years, young adult years, and even moving forward, that make us the way we are, how we respond, how we react. So what I can tell you is about my stuff is, I was a good cop and was able to dissociate because I learned how to at a very young age because my dad was sexually inappropriate with me. Yay. Most cops have a lot of that crap in their background. So, you know, there is a very significant portion of police officers that have dealt with, it doesn't even have to be sexual abuse, but physical abuse, verbal abuse, different things like that, or significant traumatic events earlier on, and they've learned to disassociate.
Right.
It's a healthy mechanism. It's how our brain keeps us safe and is able to continue on moving forward. So police, the career of police officer, caters to these people that know how to disassociate.
That's why we're good at our jobs. Then.
Absolutely.
So now you say it's a healthy way. So does that effectively mean the same thing? Like when I'm, you know, a young kid and there's no trauma there, but I'm dissociating somewhere else. Like I'm pretending I'm.
You're daydreaming.
Yeah, or I'm daydreaming,
You're
or
Darth
I think,
Vader,
yeah,
or...
like, you know, I'm fucking Yoda. I'm killing people. Like that's healthy dissociation, right? Is that what you're talking about?
There's healthy
dissociation,
and then there's dissociation when it becomes unhealthy, when you're constantly checked out and, hey, you can't connect with your wife, or you can't connect with your children, or, you know, you're responding to a call and you're totally unsympathetic, unempathetic towards the victim, telling them, you know, suck it up.
Yeah, I did that a lot, unfortunately.
You know,
So that's not.
It can be healthy.
But that's not the job that makes us. Or do you think it is the job? Like if you didn't have, let's say you didn't have the childhood trauma and you were raised great, and I agree. I've heard that many times. If you're raised healthy and then you get into the job turned us this way. Do you think that's a fair statement? If
the job has a significant impact on us, yes, absolutely.
Because
we are seeing this stuff over and over and over again. We're not getting a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
So most people throughout their lives will experience one or two traumatic events throughout their lives. The
and
general population.
when you say traumatic, it's not that the fucking price of gas is through the roof traumatic, or fucking I got a deadline to meet at work and
I'm talking
my
about
boss
a death
is being mean.
or something.
Yeah.
Death or violence.
So in that aspect, is their brain telling them that they have to dissociate from that, like a sudden passing of a spouse or a child, and you see them go into that depression? Is that what you're talking about? Like that dissociation where they don't want to deal with what the trauma is in front of them?
It could be.
Okay.
Could be.
And then, so as a police officer, I've thought about it. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to not dissociate if I have to see that every day?
You do need to.
Are you turning this into a free counseling session?
No, I'm just.
wow.
Yes,
I'm curious.
You totally are.
I'll go back to this. Cops are very resilient. Very resilient. That's why cops can go in and see this stuff day in, day out, to a degree, for a while, function normally, right? As you continue to get exposed, there's not any time for your brain to have downtime. And it just continues to remain on this hypervigilant alert. And it has negative impacts on your body. You know, there's research out there. I'm sure most of you are aware of it. You know, the heart disease related to officers.
Yeah.
You know, the shortened lifespan that we have because of all the cortisol dumps, the adrenaline dumps that we deal with, the disrupted sleep messes with your, you know, sugars and diabetes and different things like that. A lot of that comes from sleep stuff.
Yeah, because it's bad fucking eating. Did you ever eat a good meal when you were in fucking patrol?
Pizza just about every freaking night,
Yeah,
dude.
that sounds about good. I never tasted a salad till I fucking retired because everything was a QT fucking burrito or a fucking, the
Slurpees.
7-Eleven,
Slurpees.
Mark knows what I'm talking about, 7-Eleven bombs, the ones that would make you shit for days, you know what I mean? They're just not good for
I
you.
never ate that
That was
crap,
Taco
man.
Bell.
Never.
Oh,
Never.
I can't do Taco
you
Bell
fucking ate
anymore.
that shit.
Yeah.
So,
So
that's
there's a lot of things that are bombarding an officer,
so.
not just seeing traumatic stuff.
So lately we've gotten calls, and I've seen it on the news and stuff. The like people believing that we shouldn't be fucked up because we got trained to not be fucked up, right? But I never got taught in the academy how to deal with these things.
Yeah, it's one of the
No.
mentalities of it's what you signed up for. This comes with the job. Those kind of cliches.
Yeah, it's kind of messed
just-
up.
Yeah.
But I never. That's like, as a police officer, I never went to somebody at a Circle K, got robbed, and said, "Hey, that's what you signed up for, bro." You knew you're gonna get robbed. All of a sudden you're mad.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
And
just
then
stupid.
workman's comp sit there and say, "Oh, sorry, we're not going to cover that because that's expected, right?"
Right. So
I know that's a whole different topic, but
That's true.
I can see your button right now. I was
So-
going to push that button. It's going to piss you
So
off.
EMDR is what
So-
we're here to talk about.
Yeah. So let's.
I never heard that word until you just said that.
I know. Oh, we're at the end.
So, but part
Are
of
we?
this part, nah, we still good. So part of the bigger part of the reason is treatment. So when I was going through my critical incident, I met with Dr. Tapia, and she had this thing called EMDR, and it was fucking wicked. I didn't know what it was. Hold these buzzies, watch this light. Was that around, Mark, when you were going through your shit?
Yeah, I was one of the first people in Arizona to get that treatment. They did a case study on.
Ooh.
I was part of that.
And you're still fucked up, so it must not work.
Yeah, and I've had it since then, and I've actually gotten. I didn't really get I was in therapy for years before I got exposed to that, and I made great gains with it. And when I had it done again with Dr. White, I made great gains again.
I was going to say I fucked up one more, sorry.
Yeah,
So you're a
I call it great gains.
she can't say bad.
Yeah.
So now, did you have it when you retired? Was that part of your treatment plan with your clinicians that you saw along the way?
So I did do EMDR a couple of sessions. The problem is I was in the midst of my whole workman's comp deal, and it became, throughout my therapy and talking and everything, this concern for secondary gain, or this, the secondary gain. So when I talk with officers in my office and stuff, there's this need to make sure that you're proving that you're sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get too better too quick, or get better period without workman's comp stuff being settled, because they're going to see that you're healthy and not give you your crap, right?
No, I don't. See, I was the opposite. I was doing everything I could to get better, so
Well,
that
this
they
was more
didn't have to pay.
kind of a subconscious level. This wasn't.
okay.
This was,
Oh.
wasn't that I was intentionally not trying to do
Okay,
it.
I see what you're
There was
saying.
this subconscious.
Right, like because you're
block.
worried in the background, like, hey, they're gonna think I'm lying.
Right.
Okay, I'm with
Right.
you. I'm with
Yeah.
you. Okay, so you did do EMDR.
I did do EMDR.
Did it work for you in the beginning?
I look back at it when I was doing it. I didn't think it was doing anything, but I do look back at it, and I picked a target memory that wasn't associated with anything that I'd done with police work, and it actually doesn't have the same impact that it did when I did it. So based on what I know now, I'm like, yeah, it did work.
Should we ask the secretary if it worked in the beginning? Did
He
you
probably
see?
didn't know.
He probably doesn't pay attention anyway. He was on his fucking phone when I asked the question, so he wasn't paying attention. So, so you talk about the target, but can you kind of break down, like, what EMDR is? What exactly is the purpose of it? What are we trying to achieve, or what are you guys trying to achieve when we do that?
I'm trying to achieve reducing your symptoms. Duh. And then normal answer.
Well, I don't know. I say fix me, and you say, well, I don't fix
I
people.
can't
I help people.
fix you. I help you. Can't
So
fix
how
you.
is
It's
it
all in
helping
here.
then?
How is it helping them? It is processing trauma. I know that's really not giving you much of an answer. So when we experience trauma, our brain processes a lot of information. Our brain's like this mega computer system that we really don't know a whole lot about yet. We're learning more and more as time goes on. But so when we get a trauma, it will get stuck in our brain and not get encoded in the correct place. Different areas of the brain stores different information. And so this this information will get put in an area of brain where it doesn't belong. And so your brain's constantly bringing attention to the fact that, hey, dum-dum, you got some stuff that's not in the correct spot. Let's get it filed correctly. And so that's where you'll notice your triggers and different things, or that's how your triggers come about, because things aren't wired correctly and things aren't stored correctly. So with the EMDR, it's activating the brain to help process it. And so I tell my guys that, when we have REM sleep, there's different stages of sleep. Part of sleep is REM sleep, which a lot of guys don't get after a critical incident. And it's a very important part for processing information. So it's believed that during EMDR, we're activating that part with REM sleep to where we're activating the brain and we're causing the brain to start processing information. And so it'll start pulling the stuff out and putting it into the correct areas of the brain, to where now when you look at that yellow dress over there, because previously you saw a victim of a homicide in a yellow dress, and you could never look at yellow dresses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look at that yellow dress and it doesn't mean anything to you. It's like, oh, that's a nice yellow dress.
So it's like your brain is clogged, and that is, though it's clogging it. And then
it's stuck. Yeah, and then you flush it through. It's like a
goes
toilet,
through.
right? Yeah, it's all backlogged.
The
It's
way
a bunch
I
of
feel
shit.
sometimes,
Yeah.
like I have a bunch of shit in my head, and I need a plumber to clean out my shit.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. It's all backlogged. And so in doing the EMDR work, there's a couple different approaches, but you identify a target memory. And while you may start with that target memory, what's going to happen is it's going to pull in all different things. It's not going to just stay on that specific memory, because everything's intertwined, everything's interconnected in our brain. And our brain will associate things in ways we have we just can't comprehend. Why on earth is the red bulb match with the blue elephant? I don't know. Right. But it does. And so the biggest problem I see with guys that do MDR is they try and control. They try and control their brain as to where it goes. Wanting to know what the answer is, as far as, oh, if I do this is what I'm going to get, right? Well, each brain is unique. Each brain operates differently. And you got to be able to just let your brain go where it needs to go. And so it'll pull stuff up from childhood. It'll pull stuff up from what you did just yesterday, or pull up from a different relationship. You're like, where on earth did that come from? I think of one client that we started off thinking that there was an issue with an interaction with the father. And we did the EMDR, and it went back to an interaction with the grandfather, and just like, holy crap, I had to do with my grandfather, not my father. So
you're like a brain detective.
I don't do any of the work, though.
You get to the bottom of shit.
I don't do any of the work. It's your brain doing the work. It's just a little EMDR, because I use the buzzies, the little handheld paddles.
I like those paddles. I don't like the light.
I don't like
the stupid HGN thing either. Like falling my fingers and shit. That bothers me.
Done that too.
Yeah, I find that the buzzies kind of give you this a little bit safer
and that
place
that
to
light
be.
bar reminded me of the light bar on the patrol car. So like I have a flashback or something. But it fucked me up anyways.
Yeah.
So the clogging of the brain. So basically, because that was one of the things when I was going through my critical incident. I didn't care about the technical terms. I just needed this fixed right away so I could get back to my black and white. And I didn't know what was going on with it. But so, and maybe this is just too broad of a question, but why some things stick or clog the brain and others don't? Is there any rational reason? Like, there's 4 cops in the room. You see 3 of us, probably over 100 years of experience. And you guys saw things that I didn't see, but I got stuck on it for some reason. Right. And so I think that's a lot of times that was the issue that I had when I was going through my critical incidents. Well, why did Mark fucking get fucked up by that? That would then give me guilt or shame, like I should be better because Mark didn't get fucked up and I did. I'm less than. Is that so? And I guess that's a good question. Like, is that my real brain or the clog brain putting that in there, inserting that fucked up thought?
I would say it's your mind putting in that fucked up thought. So, trauma impacts everybody differently, or everybody has their own unique reaction to traumas, and it really depends on what your history is and what skills you've developed in the past, or what experiences you've had in the past, and how to cope with this stuff. That's why different things affect people differently. I'm sure you're aware of some of the research studies where you got 2 cops on the same scene with the same suspect shooting. One gets screwed up and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
same thing, but one connected eyes with the suspect and he got all jacked up over it.
Yeah.
You know, there's these just very minute variables that can happen, and we're not always aware of what those variables are that can cause the stuff to get stuck. And thanks to my PTSD brain, I don't remember where I'm going from there.
This is awesome to have a fucked up doctor. It's just as fucked up as we are. This is classic.
It's also the benefit of using her is the fact that you don't have to explain any police tactics to her. You don't have to, like, you can talk about your critical incident. And I was in therapy for years, and I spent most of that time talking to my next doctor because the last doctor was pathetic. And the doctor I would spend weeks and weeks explaining what happened and why I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
You can come into Amy's office and you can say, yeah, I went to a shooting and this guy was, you know, he had us cornered and he opened fire and, you know, we were, you know, just, you don't have to go into police tactics.
Fatal
with her.
tunnel and all
Yeah,
that different
Well,
stuff.
she doesn't. She's not
Because she
entranced
knows
with your
all that.
Hollywood style of shooting. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's.
I'm not here to listen to the cop stories.
Yeah,
I know
you
there's
can-
some
you know-
clinicians out there that they just want to hear the cop stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's,
I think generally
so you
speaking,
get
though-
valuable time with her where
Yeah.
you're really getting fix-it help instead of teaching them about how to be a cop and why you do certain things. And
So where do you think?
Oh, you were talking about stigma earlier, weren't you?
Now you just fucking my train of
I'm
thought.
sorry.
This shit ain't gonna
can
work
we
out
have some
very
cue
well
cards
at all.
to keep
Jesus
us on
Christ.
track, please?
Can we get the secretary to keep us on time over
Something
here with
shiny.
cue cards?
And then something shiny.
So yeah.
Woohoo! Hey,
I don't know what I was thinking about.
Hey, what's
Is
this
today
about?
Tuesday? So you
the side
We're over.
stigma.
or the difficulty, the embarrassment, right?
Yeah,
You're
that's
talking
what
about
it
the
was.
embarrassment.
Yeah.
So
Embarrassment.
you know when the very
recall.
first time that I had a clinician tell me, "Hey, I think you got PTSD," I'm kind of like, I go home and I'm like, "There's no fucking way I have PTSD. You're fucking crazy." I'm like, I didn't get shot. I didn't shoot someone.
Right.
I'm like, no, I didn't know. No way. And then it took many months for my therapist that I did remain working with to sit there and say, no, those are all traumatic events too. I'm like, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't know, and it doesn't have to be a shooting or getting shot or getting injured for this to happen.
Good information because too many people they qualify or quantify their trauma versus, you know, Marcus Luttrell. It's like, yeah, I didn't get blown off a mountain. All my partners didn't get shot and killed. I wasn't chased by the Taliban.
Well, we're set up that way though because
Yeah.
look at our culture. I mean, you're really, for as shitty as it sounds, you're only taken care of it when you're a folded flag. Like,
Yeah.
they never look at the partner that was there that got shot.
You're right.
And we, to our own detriment, we do the same thing, because, like you said, you know, here your then boyfriend or fiance at the time is in a shooting, and you're putting yourself second to that, even though you were part of that, like that critical incident.
But I wasn't. That was my thinking. That I'm not part of this.
Well, at the time,
that
you're,
my-
yeah, at
that
the
my
time
shit?
you're not thinking that, but you're even more close than most spouses, right? I mean, the spouses,
Yeah.
you've seen them come into your office when they come to group. They're like, you know, I was fucking terrified. I had to go to the hospital. I was confused. I thought he was going to die, and no one pays attention to the spouse,
Right.
and she has to put herself, or he has to put himself aside to deal with what's in front of them.
Yeah.
And then they forget. And I think that's our own detriment. We do the same when an officer's killed in the line of duty. Then you're like, okay, I'm not gonna say I'm fucked up because I don't want to take any spotlight away from
Yeah.
the officer and the officer's family. But meanwhile, we're struggling in the background, and no
Yep.
one, and maybe it's our own fault, right? Because we allow them to believe we're okay.
It's true.
Well, I mean,
you
but
can't get help if you're not sitting there asking for it or letting someone else know
you
that
also
you need
can't
it.
get
Right.
help if you don't know what your symptoms are. If you just think you're just, you know, I'm just having nightmares. Isn't that normal? Why wouldn't I have nightmares? Well, it's not normal. And in keeping this under wraps and under a rock like they've done for years, that's everything from agencies to insurance companies. No one's getting help. The radiating help doesn't go out to the partners or the good close friends on the department who lost that officer, who saw their partner get, you know, beat within an inch of their life. And until we start getting help and those rings start going out and taking care of the entire police family, first responder family, nobody's going to get help.
You know, I'm not disclosing any clients here or anything. I'm just going to talk about them in general, but there are many clients that I work with that have reactions, that have trauma, that have difficulties regarding the various officers that have been killed out here. And it wasn't because they were on scene with them or anything like that. So, I mean, it is
Just
very
being
much
close
a
to it.
rippling effect. Just
Well,
being
yeah,
part
because
of the
they're
agency
not
and-
even addressing it. I mean, some of that stuff is not being addressed because we end up seeing doctors or clinicians.
Insurance companies aren't going to cover that for
Yeah.
them either.
Well,
They're
and
not
just like
covering
we've
it.
talked about in the past, several of us saw a clinician, and she's told several of us that, well, there's no reasonable explanation to why you're going through that. That's the response we get. So now we put ourselves back again, like I shouldn't be messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to get everyone to understand that this is occurring, that we don't have enough doctors like you or clinicians that genuinely want to help us. They want to hear the cop stories, right? And I think that's the good part.
Or
Because,
they want to give you the MMPA.
oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's up to like 605
It's probably
fucking
what they get.
questions.
Yeah, it's probably what they get paid
It's,
big for.
yeah, it's,
for those
You do
stupid
get paid
things.
more for doing the top.
Oh, there
for
you
it.
it's
go.
all about, yeah. And then you get to go to doctor parties and tell them, I help cops. And then everybody pats you on the back. And
Yeah.
so we're going to wrap up here. But like I said, I do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I know you charge a shit ton of money for stuff like this,
Yes, I do.
but you could write it off because Pistle's a 501c3, so we'll give you a free write-off.
Woohoo!
So,
Like
So-
you need another one of those.
yeah.
I don't know. Is there a cap on how many of those you can submit to your taxes?
Nah, the IRS is forgiving like that. So before we wrap up, let's talk about what you do now, because you do something else, right? You've got comprehensive, you've got all this stuff going on. I come in your
Looking
office.
at my shirt.
No, I come in, I see it there, I see it there. You got flyers and shit. You want people to run. I don't understand why you want people
Yeah.
to run.
Promote
What are
it.
you-
Let's do
Okay.
it.
Yeah, what do you promote, or what are you doing?
Hold that up
Show
like
the
that.
camera.
All right. So, yeah, you can't see it.
I can't zoom in.
You can list it
I
on
think
your
I could
website
post
or
it on there,
something.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a 5K run walk, and it's the first annual PTSD awareness that we're going to put on here.
Oh, he's going to be a good secretary. Here it comes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Go to the backside where the
Now
run
turn it
sign up
around.
is.
Come on, Vanna White. Turn it around. There you
There you
go.
So there's research out there that says being physical, doing exercise and everything helps reduce PTSD symptoms.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
es-
That's just another way
especially
to
the
get.
depression side.
That's another
No,
thing to
that's
get out and
absolutely
fucking
true.
run and shit.
Very
I don't believe
true.
it.
Very true.
Well, there's a study out there that says I should be
Stop,
able to have
time
one
out.
glass
Hey.
of wine.
Hey.
There's nothing to say that helps with PTSD, just so you know. All right? I was involved in some of the research on
Heart
this.
disease.
So it's a 5K. It's June 8th, Saturday. It's at 7:45 in the morning. It's at Peoria Rio Vista Recreation Center at Thunderbird and 101. June is PTSD Awareness Month, so I
Yep.
thought it'd be a good thing to kick it off with
Yes.
a run, to do the physical exercise about it.
Now, I don't know the metrics. So
What
how far is
metrics?
5K?
3.1 miles.
No, that ain't bad. That sounds way shorter than 5K.
Dude, that's 3 miles
There's
too
gonna be
long
water
for me.
stations along the way,
Oh,
and I'm gonna have
beautiful.
some handheld fan misters so you can pass by the people and they'll spray you
Oh,
down.
yeah.
And
It sounds like a whole lot of running to me. I don't like it.
you don't have to run.
You
It's a
can
run
walk.
walk.
It's a
okay.
walk, too.
It's like a whole lot of walking.
3.1 miles.
Right.
That's it.
So what are the
Inside of a
proceeds go
half hour,
to?
you're
You
done.
got to sign up. Proceeds goes anywhere specific? Like,
So the proceeds are going to go to help put on some training for our emergency services in understanding and dealing with post-traumatic stress and related suicide, because unfortunately, some guys don't make it through this and end up taking their own lives because of the torture associated with post-traumatic stress. So
Where do we go to sign up for the 5K?
what's the website?
you want me to read it?
Yeah.
You're a doctor?
It's long. https://run.
CFC.com.
Oh yeah, you could just go to the website.
There's a good secretary right there.
Yeah.
Does he
Okay.
get flowers on secretaries?
Go to cfcheroes.com. HEROES. Make sure you have that other E in there. cfcheroes.com, and you can go onto the link. It's on 2 different parts on the web page to sign up for the race.
CFCheroes.com.
Yep.
Awesome. June
Cool.
8th.
June 8th.
June 8th.
Yep.
And what's the sign up? How much is it?
It is $40.
$7,000. What?
Well, for Manny it is, yeah.
Right.
That's why I don't run.
$45. And
Okay.
finishers get you get a T-shirt, participant T-shirt, and finishers get a special challenge coin.
Nice.
What if you don't finish?
Then you
Because
don't
you're not
get the
getting your
challenge
challenge
coin.
coin.
Not in this day and age. Everybody's a winner, Amy, and everyone
That's why you're
should get a
getting
coin.
T-shirt.
That's
That's why you're
Everyone
getting
should get a coin.
Free balloons
give you
for
a
all who
sticker.
enter. That's you.
Get you a
You're a
get a
doctor,
balloon.
you know how that is. Everyone gets medals.
2 raffles.
Oh yeah, the 2 raffles.
What are we raffling off? Guns?
We are
Guns.
We are
No,
raffling
well,
off a drop-in trigger for an AR-15.
A drop-in trigger for AR-15?
Yep, it's made by Velocity Triggers right here in Phoenix.
Velocity. All right.
Velocity Triggers. It's a 3 pounds, really nice trigger.
Right
And
on.
then also we're raffling off a C2 Tactical 556 membership, an annual membership.
A C2 Tactical annual membership.
An annual membership.
Nice.
It's valued at $489.
Yeah.
What does that membership get you?
So you're going to have
No drinks, Manny.
unlimited shooting at the C2 Tactical locations in either Scottsdale or Tempe.
Okay, so you get your
Range time.
for free.
Yep.
What else?
There's some member
Targets?
discounts. There's some member discounts that I'm not aware of.
You get to go to that special lounge that I was in.
Oh, our special. Sorry.
Yeah, does that count in that?
You might be able to
I
upgrade.
might actually pay
Hey,
for that.
let's talk to our cigar shop and see if they'll throw in some stuff for the raffle.
Yeah,
too.
they might be able to do
or
that too.
some
Be a sponsor or something.
So what
Yeah,
else?
sponsorship.
So that's one thing you're doing, but you also
Yes.
do something else, right? What else do you? Aren't you involved in something else? You're president or something.
Dude, what am I not involved in?
I don't
as
know.
well?
That's why you don't have time. We tried to get this together like 4
What
Wednesdays
else?
ago.
Oh, what are you talking about? The Society for Police and Criminal Psychology? That one?
I don't
Yeah,
Yeah, that one.
yeah.
Okay,
know.
so that conference, I'm the current president. Woohoo! Yay me!
know. Nerd. What a nerd.
It is September 22nd. What date did I give you?
24th.
Okay, so it starts on the 22nd, I believe, or the 23rd. It's on the website too. It's on cfcheroes.com website as well. But that is a conference. It is not limited just to psychologists. It provides a lot of the research, the upcoming research that's coming out regarding law enforcement. What I can tell you about this conference is we are going to have a special track on police suicide because there has been some pretty constant numbers here in Arizona.
Yeah, they just keep going up too.
Yeah, they do keep going up. So we're going to have a track on that. We're going to have a special 1 hour best practices where it's going to be moderated by a police psychologist and other clinicians that have dealt with it within the agencies. And be a question and answer period too. And then another thing that we do have coming for that conference is New Zealand's police department is going to be coming over and talking about their police mental health in relation to their most recent terrorist attack.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
so you
Well-
can check it out on the website.
I will. I'll put it on. I'm still learning all this YouTube shit. So if I put it in wrong, we'll fix it. Somebody will fix it. Because I'm not a nerd. I don't go to school for that shit. I just
You
wing
gotta.
it. Me and Mark just wing it when
You
it
got a
comes to the
16-year-old
podcast.
kid. That's like the best tech support in the world now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's when he's not busy talking to young girls.
Wow. grounded.
So, Amy, I really appreciate you coming out and doing this
Yeah.
and putting yourself out there for us. Hopefully later we can do another one. I
Absolutely.
plan on doing a lot more with the doctors. We get questions. If you guys have questions regarding, you can go. I'll put your website up on the YouTube area where you can go. And I know you're busy, so are you taking new clients or new patients?
I have this really bad problem of not being able to say no to cops. So
You're not the only one. Somebody's doing
if they
12
come in,
hours.
if they're coming in and they're a cop or they're calling me telling me they're a cop, I will do whatever I can.
But you also have someone here. She's an awesome clinician, right?
Right.
Angela?
Angela?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
mean-
another option.
Yeah,
Right.
and if anybody's out there that's got a counseling or psychologist degree and is looking to work, reach out to me because
Make sure you're dealing with cops, though.
I'm
You want to
looking to
deal with
hire.
cops. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to deal with cops. That's what we don't have enough of. I'm hoping with your whatever the presidency is that you're doing, you're going to get more clinicians to understand that we're different. We're different that way, you know?
We're weird. We're screwed up people. There's no getting around it.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, what
We're-
did you think of Flint Town?
I didn't
Before we
watch
go.
it. He watched it.
Ah,
I watched it.
how was it? Like right, true to life, or was it Hollywood?
No, it was true to
True to
life.
life. Those
Yeah.
man, that was a bad show.
I actually tasered the chief
Oh,
in training.
oh, that's great. God, that's great shit. All right. So as always, for everyone in the room, to us and those like us, right, Mark?
Cha-cha.
Dave, I appreciate you letting your wife hang out with us and chop it up for about an hour.
Yeah.
And Amy, I appreciate you taking the time out most definitely. I know we don't talk as much as we used to, but you'll always be my older sister no matter what anyone says.
And thanks, Amy, for all the care that you give to all the many, many officers that you're helping and caring for. It. Some of them I know personally, and it means the world to us. And
Yeah, it does.
You're a great person, and hats off to you for putting yourself through school and coming into this as your new mission, and you're making a difference. We thank you for it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amy.